My name is Wendy Reasner. I am the Executive Director of NorthState Care Clinic here in Redding, California. I'm originally from the East Coast, and I grew up in a Christian home. The church was like half block away, so I kind of grew up in the church, Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, that whole thing. And knew about Jesus, knew all of the laws, like what you do and what you don't do. But then about 15 years old, my dad passed away. And I became very, very angry at a God who would take away the most incredible human being in my life. And when that happened, I just became completely disillusioned with the church or God or anything. And I felt like everyone around me, you know, why are they believing in this God who is supposedly so loving, but, death, that's a forever thing and so cruel and so awful. And so I just began to walk away from church and from relationships with anyone who was a Christian. So when my dad passed away, it was just a moment in time where I began to question everything about God, religion, people who said they believed in God. You know, it was just so tragic for me. It was really tragic because I loved my dad more than anything, more than anyone could ever imagine. He was a fantastic father, and we were very, very close. And I just began to walk away from the church at that point, just distanced myself, started making friends outside of the church, friends who, had nothing to do with church or didn't care about the laws and the morals of church. And at the same time, I had a friend who was still in the church, and she found herself pregnant. And I watched the church's reaction to her, and I listened to what they said. I listened to what people said about her, what they said about her family, the names that they called her. It was it was so devastating to me to watch a girl who was making a really courageous and brave choice, to be pregnant in the church in the mid 70s was pretty big. It was a pretty big deal. Being an adopted child of my own, I really connected with her. I really thought, wow, that's kind of probably what my own mom went through. And wow, how courageous is that? However, if that would ever happen to me, I could never bear it. I couldn't bear it for my family, probably because my love language is words of encouragement. It would devastate me. It would devastate my family. My dad was very well respected in the church. My brother was going to be a pastor, and I just didn't want their names to be tainted in any kind of way because of me. And sure enough, when you play with fire, you get burned. And, I was playing around with all the moral, questionable things in life, looking for love in all the wrong places, and found myself in that pregnancy situation. And I mean, my first immediate thought was, okay, remember that friend of yours? Well, we're not ending up there. So, what is the alternative? And I looked in the phone for a free pregnancy test, and I went to Planned Parenthood. They told me it's nothing, it's just a blob of tissue, it's nothing to worry about. In fact, we can deal with this so easily that no one ever has to know. That was the key line for me to hear from the lady sitting across the table from me, in a very business-like fashion, by the way. It was very much a business transaction. It wasn't, how do you feel? It was, well, no one ever has to know, and this is the cost, and we can take care of this sooner rather than later. No education, about what was happening inside of my body, no care for my emotional health or my psychological health, no questions like that, no support if maybe this isn't the right situation, just let's take care of it and let's take care of it quickly. And that was the end of that. So I made that decision, that choice. It was horrific. Um, I didn't want a long lasting relationship with the father of the baby, let's put it that way. It was kind of an easy thing. It was the first thing he thought of also. That was his first knee jerk reaction. And what's interesting is people, nowadays people say, oh, my body, my choice, and I get to make that choice. But 75% of the time, we do what our boyfriend wants us to do. And that's a statistic. So that was his knee-jerk reaction. That's what we're going to do. I'm not ready to be a dad. And I was right along with it. That's good. This is amazing. That's our decision. The night of the procedure, I basically hemorrhaged. And I didn't know what was going on in my body, but now looking back on it, I realized that what was happening to me was a hemorrhage. And he called the doctor in the middle of the night because I was in so much pain. I could hear the doctor on the other end of the phone just yelling, like, why would you wake me up? What are you waking me up for? This is, here, I'll call you in a prescription. And truthfully, I don't even know what prescription he could actually call in, because what can you prescribe when someone's hemorrhaging? I guess my body just took care of it and calmed down and stopped by the grace of God, because nobody ever wants to send you to the emergency room from an abortion, because, well, that would just skew statistics a bit. The statistics always just tell us that relationships after this kind of thing don't last, typically. So it didn't last. And I went on with my life and then got saved. Actually, what I mean to say is I really got saved. I grew up in the church. I went forward when I was 7 to accept Christ, but I really got saved a few years later. And when I got saved, God just began to do this very deep work in my heart. And I met my husband, who kind of helped me journey the healing portion of an abortion experience. Fast forward a few years, and I was sitting in church, and I was reading a bulletin in my church, and it said Crisis Pregnancy Center starting in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. And I was like, what is this? It's in a church bulletin. What is that? Because all I could think of was, this is a pretty sensitive topic. Is this related to abortion? But then I found out what a crisis pregnancy center was. And this was back, in the 80s. So that's when they called them crisis pregnancy centers. They're no longer called that any longer. But it was a place that you could come, you could get your free pregnancy test, just like I had looked, now I'm going to date myself, in the phone book for a free pregnancy test. Now it's online on the phone. Where can I get a free pregnancy test? And a pregnancy center is a place where you come and you get your pregnancy test, and the person who is working there believes that you are way more than a consumer seeking for a business transaction to make things go away. Pregnancy Center is looking to help you understand every option that you have, that they are there for you no matter what you choose, who recognizes that you now actually already are a mom, and to call forth really the 3 options that are available to you and talk with you through every single one of those options. So you are either you have the option to parent, either yourself or co-parent with the baby's father, or you're going to place for adoption, which nowadays is a totally different story from when I was adopted. My adoption was completely closed. Nowadays, you have complete control. You can pick gets your uh, who gets to parent your child. You can pick if you want a relationship with them, how often you see them, if you're going to get pictures of them, if you get to write letters to them, if you get to visit them from time to time. It's such a different world. And you don't even have to, you can decide and then change your mind at the last moment, or change your mind within a specific period of time. It's a totally different world than from when I was adopted. Or you're going to terminate. A pregnancy center makes sure that you understand exactly what this is going to entail. How far along are you? What is the development of your child right now, so that you know what it is that you're actually doing. A free ultrasound is given so that you can look at the screen and see the development of the child. Either way, you're going to get an ultrasound. You're going to get an ultrasound at a pregnancy center doing ultrasounds, or you're going to get an ultrasound at the abortion clinic. The difference is that the screen will be turned away from you at the abortion clinic. So you'll never get to see that ultrasound there, but you get to see it here. And that's obviously with her permission, with someone's permission to do all of these things. Pregnancy centers don't do anything they're not given permission to do. And it's all surrounded with love. If only there had been someplace like this, I know full well that I would have changed my mind. I know that if someone had sat down with me and said, "Hey, Wendy, I know that you're afraid, or I know that you're ashamed, or I know that you feel like people are going to talk about you. Can we walk alongside of you and support you? Because, hey, the reality is your baby is 11 weeks old at this particular point in time. And this is what's happening developmentally in your body." If somebody had just lovingly told me that, I don't know that I could have ever done it. I distanced myself so far from the anatomy or the physiology of what was going on inside my body. I wasn't stupid, but I dissociated myself from what was actually happening in my body. And if someone had reconnected that association, I just know that I would have chosen differently. And having somebody in my corner to walk me through all of the tough stuff would have made all the difference in the world. So I was all in at that point when I read that bulletin announcement. Oh, a pregnancy center like that? I will do anything. I will scrub the toilets. I will wash the floors. I will do anything. I'll stuff envelopes and lick stamps. Yeah, that's when they used to be lickable. I'll lick stamps. I'll do anything that is necessary to get this thing going. And remarkably, we spent a year just getting it all set up to go, and they were hiring a director, and I had literally no experience. I don't even understand what they saw in me, uh, but they all thought, "Yeah, you should direct this. You should be the director." That was the beginning of a 10-year job in Pennsylvania. It was the most rewarding, most incredible thing I've ever had the opportunity to do. And moved on to, when that was all done, I moved on to other things. God just brought other opportunities my way, because he just does when you're when you're in the ministry of those kinds of things, other things easily, very relatably fall into your path. We were retiring, kind of, moved out to California, and I began volunteering at this pregnancy center just to help with a mailing. And somehow, some way, someone said, "Hey, you should be on the board of directors." And so I said, "Sure, I could do that from, once a month. I could be a board of director member." Oh my word, I'm one of those ancient people who sits on the board of directors, is kind of how I felt. Um, so I did that for a year. I was on the board of directors, and it was great. But then the director left, and the board said, "Hey, you did this for 10 years. Would you consider stepping in and directing this pregnancy center?" Which I said yes to for a temporary period of time. But in that temporary period of time, it was COVID. I became the director right before COVID. It was a beautiful, wonderful time because we actually got to be open as an essential service. So we scaled back on a lot of things, but we got to dream. And uh, we actually began the whole plan to change the name to NorthState Care Clinic because that's when we got a mobile. We started the plans for a mobile unit, which is now all over the North State. So that is why the name changed from CareNet to NorthState Care Clinic. But it's been an incredible, incredible ride. We are a California Department of Health clinic here in Redding, California. We have a medical director, we have nurses. We get to combine medical services and resources and support. One arm is medical care, which is our verified pregnancy tests and ultrasounds, and all of those are at no cost. Actually, there's no cost to anything that we do here. We are not supported by any government, federal, state monies. We are completely community supported. So to offer free medical services is really a blessing. And then the other arm of our services that comes around is all of the educational and support that you can possibly need for a mom or a dad or a baby. Moms obviously they're offered virtual parenting classes. When there is someone here getting a pregnancy test and father of the baby comes along, there is a men's coach to meet with him. We have a parenting class once a month, a pizza night where guys can come, new dads can come and learn all about how it is to be a dad and talk about those things with one another. Or they can have one-on-one coaching programs with our fatherhood coaches. So the virtual parenting classes are actually for both mom and dad. Each of them, if they want, earns points by doing those classes. And the points are spent in a boutique where we have anything and everything that a baby could ever need, from diapers, wipes, formula, clothing, baby bouncers, strollers, you name it, we probably have it. And if we don't have it and you need it and you're our client, we'll get it for you. We have classes, nutrition classes, we have reproductive loss groups, we have a spiritual healing class for those who are just, really expressing the desire to grow spiritually. We purchased a mobile health clinic, which we lovingly call the bus. And the bus right now goes out one day a week. It serves two purposes. It helps the pregnancy resource centers. There are sister centers, they just don't have medical services. It also gets the bus out into areas where they just can't get into Redding easily. There's just barriers for them to get here. And it also is going to serve as a liaison for the sidewalk advocates out near Planned Parenthood and Women's Health Services. the local abortion clinics. The sidewalk advocates are able to have conversations with people, and they've brought us patients for the last few years. They're over at the sidewalk. They have a conversation with someone who maybe they get to the clinic and they're thinking, well, maybe this isn't what I want to do. And if they're wavering at all, they get to talk to the sidewalk advocate, and the sidewalk advocate has brought them here. So our bus being near those places to be available if somebody is wavering in that decision or goes back to say, hey, I took that first pill. I changed my mind. What can I do? Then we're there. We'd love to get the bus out every single day of the week. I think sometimes women feel like, okay, well, I've paid my money. I've gone through all of the hoops. I filled out all of the paperwork. I'm ready for the procedure. I've been prepped, and I don't think I want to do it. They have a moment in that moment where, gosh, I don't think I can do this. They can get up and leave if they want to. And a lot of times that's very empowering for women to hear, and we've had women here at NorthState who have actually done that. They've gone to, a hospital down in Sacramento and gotten up off the table and chose life. And it was all because someone told them, you could change your mind right at the end. So it's empowering her with education. It's empowering her to help her understand that there is a child growing inside of her, and there's no more ifs. A lot of what we hear is, if I'd only known this, or if I'd only done this, I don't think I would have made that choice. So we want to eradicate all of the ifs. Just going back to my story, if only I had spoken to somebody who had given me the support, I would have chosen differently. We want to love her with no judgment, no matter what she chooses, no judgment. So it is almost like pro-choice, because we're giving her all the information on all the choices. We're laying that before her, and we're loving her no matter which choice she makes, which is not coming from the side that says we are pro-choice. I feel like that was stolen, because God gives us a choice in every situation that we make. Everything that we are faced with, He gives us a choice, and we get to make that choice. So she gets to make that choice, and we love her. We follow up with her no matter how long she wants support. We are here for her. Our number one guarantee is unconditional love. We are here to be Jesus without hitting her over the head with a Bible, or showing her gory pictures, or telling her what she should or should not do. We are loving her, period. And so the emphasis is like, how can I love you best? And do you know Jesus? Because He's the reason that we are all here. He's the reason that we love you unconditionally. And they're so drawn by that. Like, we have never, ever had anybody here who has said, this is a horrible place, I'm never coming back. All our feedback is that they love us, like atheists. And some girls in the past few years have been members of a satanic church, and they think that we're great. I don't. It's the love of Christ. It just pours out all over the place here. Getting involved is really easy, and we really need your help to make this all possible. Friends of NSCC.org is our website. You can go there. We are completely community funded, and we need your help to do this.